Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Sonic Multiverse. I'm Comic Fan 13, and I think we all know about Sonic 06. Love it or hate it, it's definitely one of the most memorable Sonic games. However, one thing people can mostly agree on about the game is that Shadow and Mephiles' rivalry was very well handled, with Mephiles being the dark reflection of Shadow, and Shadow being the hero ready to stop him. However, what if Shadow joined Mephiles? At one point during the plot of Sonic 06, Mephiles does give Shadow the offer to join his cause, promising him revenge against humanity. Now, Shadow declines the offer, but what if he took him up on it? That's what we're going to explore today. Crisis City, the destroyed future, 200 years separated from our current timeline. Shadow confronts Mephiles, wanting some answers of what became of this future. Mephiles decides to answer Shadow's question by telling him what would become of the Dark Hedgehog in the future. Mephiles explains how the humans feared Shadow, and when the world came to an end, they blamed him and took this opportunity to lock him away. As Mephiles continues his speech, Shadow begins to think to himself. As shocking as his future self's fate may be, he needs to focus on the current situation. He knows that Mephiles is up to something, and even if he manages to defeat Mephiles at this point in history, Mephiles could just teleport to some other point in time and leave Shadow stranded in this apocalyptic wasteland. Before Shadow can ponder this any further, he snapped back to reality as Mephiles makes him an offer.
Come with me, Shadow. Let us punish this foolish world of humanity. It is only right to give back what was intended for you. You have every right to want justice.
Shadow is disgusted by this offer. Shadow is resolute to protect the world that Maria loves so much. And now this thing is asking him to try and destroy it. However, a possible alliance would get him an insight into what Mephiles is planning, and perhaps even a way to stop him. Not to mention, with his current situation, it's his only chance to get back to his timeline. Mephiles interrupts Shadow's thought process once again.
Are you in or out, Shadow?
In that moment, Shadow makes a vow to himself. He will stop Mephiles, even if he has to use deceptive tactics to do it.
Very well, Mephiles. If the world chooses to become my enemy, then I shall fight as I always have. Where shall we begin?
Mephiles seems pleased with this outcome.
Very good, Shadow. You've chosen the right side.
Mephiles began to explain his master plan, stating how he wishes to refuse with Iblis. However, to do this, they would have to break the seal that's been locking the flames of disaster within Princess Elise for 10 years. Although they can be released upon her death, the only way to truly break the seal is to make her cry a tear of pure sadness. Mephiles offhandedly explains that he's already taken care of that matter. He sent some fool to run his errands. However, to fuse him and Iblis once and for all, they will need the 7 Chaos Emeralds.
Very well, Mephiles. I'll find the 7 Chaos Emeralds. Where shall I begin?
Mephiles begins to laugh. Well, it seems that the Chaos Emerald has come to us. Shadow looks over and sees a familiar face. It's Omega. The walking arsenal had awoken from its 200 years in standby mode and was here to assist the ultimate life form. However, since Shadow and Mephiles hadn't begun combat, Omega wasn't sure if he should consider Mephiles a threat or not. instead kept a defensive position rather than an offensive one. Mephiles, however, made his intentions immediately clear.
Shadow, this machine holds the Chaos Emerald. Destroy it and take your prize.
Shadow, having no intention of fighting Omega, tries to bargain with Mephiles.
Mephiles, Omega is a good friend of mine. He could be a powerful ally to our cause.
Ally?
Ha! Did I not tell you it's machine the humans commandeered to take you out, Shadow?
Mephiles sees a look in Shadow's eye. Shadow knows what Mephiles is about to say, but he doesn't want it to be true.
That's right, Shadow. Your friend here defeated you in the future.
Mephiles suddenly transformed into his darker form.
Now, do what you must and slay the machine.
Shadow took one look at Omega and could see the guilt in his cybernetic eyes. GUN had awoken him from his sleep mode briefly to dispatch the Shadow of the future. A combination of Omega's superior strength, augmented by the Chaos Emerald, and the future Shadow's unwillingness to destroy his friend, led to Shadow's capture. He had only been sent back into sleep mode when the job was finished. Despite the immense feeling of betrayal, Shadow still refused to fight his friend. Shadow knew that Omega wouldn't attack him of his free will. However, Shadow also couldn't betray the alliance that he had with Mephiles, since he still needed to put an end to his plans. So Shadow elected to combat the situation with his words rather than his fist. Shadow announced a false declaration, one that would appeal to Mephiles' ideals.
Those pathetic humans. Not only do they lock me away out of a sense of inferiority, but they take away my friend's free will. Mephiles, Omega has been wrong just as much as I. He deserves a chance to contribute in our plan.
Shadow gives Omega a nearly unnoticeable nod, as if to tell him, "I'll explain later." Seeing this, Omega stands down. Mephiles, although not pleased with how Shadow disregarded his direct order, is pleased to see that Shadow seems to be invested in the plan.
Very well, Shadow. You may bring your cohort. But if he stands in our way, I will destroy him. Don't worry, Mephiles. I'll personally destroy anyone who stands in the way of my mission.
With all said and done, Mephiles opens another portal through time. The three leap through it, returning to Shadow and Omega's present. Shadow quickly notices that Mephiles seemingly vanished before they arrived. Omega scans the area but can't seem to find him. This is because Mephiles had already left the area. He was there a few minutes before to manipulate Silver and Blaze once more. It's time travel, confusing nonsense. After brushing off Silver's questions about the Iblis trigger, Mephiles disappears to search for the Chaos Emeralds. Back with Shadow and Omega, they meet up with Rouge and explain the situation. Shadow cements his plan to play along with Mephiles' scheme until they have all 7 Chaos Emeralds. Mephiles has already explained to Shadow how the Chaos Emeralds are essential to combine him with Iblis once more. So, once he and Mephiles have both collected all 7 Chaos Emeralds, Shadow will wait for his moment to strike. Rouge is concerned about working with Mephiles. She even insinuates that perhaps his current actions of helping Mephiles is why the government locked him away in the future. Shadow, acknowledging the very real possibility, asks Rouge if she can keep GUN off his back for at least a few hours. Rouge explains that it will be difficult and she'll have to call in a few favors, but she can definitely get that done. With that being said, Shadow takes the Chaos Emerald from Omega and prepares to set out. Before leaving, Shadow turns to his teammates.
Thank you for trusting me.
And with that, Shadow sets out to find the Chaos Emeralds. The scene where Shadow interrogates Dr. Eggman would play out more or less the same, with Shadow wishing to learn all he can about Mephiles in hopes of finding a weakness. Dr. Eggman lets it slip that if Shadow can learn about what happened during the Solaris project 10 years ago, he might be able to find a way to stop Mephiles. In return for this information, Eggman expects Shadow to bring Mephiles to him, but obviously Shadow isn't going to keep that end of the deal. The radical train cutscene plays out more or less the same. Silver attacks Sonic, Useless Princess is kidnapped for the umpteenth time, and Shadow intervenes, stopping Silver from killing Sonic. However, unlike in the original cutscene, in this version, Sonic drops his Chaos Emerald. This likely happened while Silver was roughing him up a bit, and since he's in such a hurry to stop Eggman and save Elise, he doesn't notice and leaves it behind. Like in the original cutscene, Silver briefly thought this was Mephiles at a first glance. This confirms to Shadow that this must be the fool that Mephiles has working for him. Shadow tries to reason with Silver, but in hopes of saving his future, Silver won't let anyone stand in his way. A battle ensues, leading to the greatest scene in all video game history, before Silver is knocked down. Believing Silver to be knocked out, Shadow turns to collect the Cyan Chaos Emerald that Sonic dropped. But behind him, Silver's getting back up. Silver pulls out the blue Chaos Emerald, the one he attained in White Acropolis, and tries to mimic Shadow's Chaos Control technique. Shadow sees this coming at the last moment, initiating his own Chaos Control to counter it, opening the time-space warp. Shadow is astonished that Silver was able to master Chaos Control that easily. Trying to pretend as if he isn't surprised by a giant portal, Silver reaffirms his mission to save the future. Recognizing that Silver truly is trying to do good and is likely just being manipulated by Mephiles, Shadow offers to show him the truth. Shadow is of course referring to the Solaris project. This kills two birds with one stone. Not only does it make a powerful ally in Silver, but it allows Shadow a chance to find a way to stop Mephiles. The two agree on the plan going ahead and transport 10 years back in time to see how it all began. The past scene plays out more or less the same. The only noteworthy difference is that Shadow convinces Silver to give him the gray and blue Chaos Emeralds once the job is done. No, I'm not changing this because of the whole how does this work with the timey-wimey nonsense of Sonic 06. I've honestly never minded that. It's time travel. I've just always justified it as, oh, okay, so one of the Chaos Emeralds, the one that Elise has, is from the future. And eventually, that will be sent back to the past 10 years, so that doesn't really affect the main 7 Chaos Emeralds, including its blue doppelganger. But for this one, the reason I'm changing it is because Shadow's plan is to get the Chaos Emeralds, so it would be idiotic for him to just let Silver leave one of them with Princess Elise. So in this timeline, the reason Elise has the blue Chaos Emerald at the beginning of Sonic 06 is likely a result of either the Soliana police force finding the emerald and giving it to their superior. Perhaps Elise is interested in the science behind the Chaos Emeralds in this timeline, or perhaps she just thought it looked nice. Take a pick. It ultimately doesn't matter, I just want to acknowledge this. Now, once they return to the present, Shadow and Silver form an alliance. Shadow promises that if his plan works out, they'll be able to stop both Mephiles and Iblis simultaneously. Silver asks Shadow what his plan is. Shadow explains. He's planning on recreating the Scepter of Darkness to seal Iblis away, and by using the Chaos Emeralds, he may be able to find a way to remove the Flames of Disaster from Elise and trap them in some other dimension. It's a long shot, but they might just be able to do it with all 7 Chaos Emeralds. Silver chooses to trust Shadow. With that, the two say their goodbyes to meet up with their respective allies, with Shadow leaving with the green, blue, cyan, and silver Chaos Emeralds. Elsewhere, Mephiles has collected his share of the Chaos Emeralds. He already possessed the purple emerald from the future. Then he found the red Chaos Emerald at Wave Ocean, and finally came across the yellow Chaos Emerald in Dusty Desert. His master plan is nearing completion. Shadow, too, was preparing his endgame. Thanks to the additional knowledge he received from the past, he and Rouge were able to reconstruct the Scepter of Darkness. Now he could seal away Mephiles when the time was right.